Just because your dad is Van Damme, you're not going to get the job. There's got to be more to it than that.
Why aren't Van Damme kids bigger stars, movie stars? Well, this topic came up in a discussion I had with AJ Von Bacher, whom you likely seen on the channel, spreading the Michael Jai White love in a series of videos. But anyway, make sure to check out his YouTube channel. I'll link it in the description below. This is just speculation. I got my theory. He's got his. We don't agree. But make sure to stay until the latter half of the video because Sheldon Lettich, a guy who wrote and directed Van Damme in several of his best movies, knows the real answer. So we're going to find out. He was around the whole time, seen Van Damme's kids growing up, etc. Sheldon Lettich will also discuss what he looks for when he's casting a movie. We're going to talk a little bit about Steven Seagal, etc. All kinds of great stuff. Anyway, if you like this kind of content, please help support the channel by hitting the like button, subscribing, and sharing the video.
But I think also, this is just my personal opinion from watching Van Damme a lot and studying him. And like, I think you and me, we've pretty much seen everything there's to see on him almost, you know, and by the way, whatever's online. But like, you have to ask yourself this question, right? Why are his kids' martial arts levels are pretty, you know, they play in a few of his movies and they're like, you know what I'm saying? Like, why are they so mediocre, his kids?
Well,
like,
what do you mean? Yeah,
like his son is nowhere near his level. That's what I'm getting at.
Oh, what do you mean? It's
Van Damme's son.
Yeah.
Christopher.
He doesn't have that ballet background, man.
Yeah, but Van Damme did teach him. It shows in his kicking skills.
No, it's true. They do have some similarities for sure. His daughter.
No, not similarities. He kicks exactly like Van Damme, but worse. Like not as good. I mean, you know, he's got like the telegraphing of the kick, like the little things that it just doesn't look as good as Van Damme's kicks, but you can tell that Van Damme taught them. Right now, why didn't Van Damme really get them out there? Why didn't Van Damme send them to like a real master, someone who will really teach them how to kick, even better than him eventually? Why didn't he make his kid the next Van Damme? It's not like he couldn't have, dude. Come on, man. You know what I mean? He didn't really focus on his kid. He's been busy with himself nonstop. And in my opinion, he should have, you know, like the kid has got his look sort of. He could have sort of made him like Brandon Lee. Brandon Lee was a thing after Bruce Lee. You know what I mean? But Bruce Lee died early, and you cannot compare that. But this is one thing. I don't doubt that if Bruce Lee was alive, he would have really thought his son and made him the next him. You know why? You see the videos of him teaching his little kid when he's small. You see Bruce Lee kicking with Brandon. Show me one image of Van Damme doing that with Kris. And Van Damme said himself that one of his biggest regrets and one of the reasons why he adopts so many dogs is because he didn't get a chance to see his kids grow up. Just think about that. Bruce Lee made sure that he didn't lose his family. You can see that in the movie. You can see that in the book and all that. What I'm getting at is, and I'm not talking as about Van Damme, but I don't think Van Damme wants there to be another him. See what I'm saying? I think Van Damme wants to be the only one. Like, I don't think Van Damme, listen though, I don't think Van Damme wants someone to be better than him ever. I mean, you and I are saying right now no one is ever going to get there, which in many ways I think is true. Of course, no one's ever going to be him or be Bruce Lee. But I don't think he personally wants that, because if he wanted that, he would have put his kid out there. And by now, trust me, his kid would have been the star, not him. Yeah, but that's what he should have done, in my opinion, you know?
That's an interesting theory, but...
Like, why didn't he get him into acting classes? His acting is terrible. Why didn't he put him in like a good acting school since he was little? Really prepare him from like a young age to be the next him.
Here's the thing, man. Here's the thing to respond. So it's an interesting theory. I would have to disagree, though, because Van Damme, he is definitely helping them, but... they almost have to hitch their wagon on his train to get anywhere. Let's be realistic, man. Like, it's a different era for one.
It doesn't matter. So they're Brandon Lee.
It's really hard to make it, dude. And there's a reason why. Because even look at Van Damme's era, you had really great martial arts who kind of had like a screen presence, like Jeff Speakman, like Mark Dacascos, like Philip Bree. And granted, they've all done stuff, but they never got to the level of Van Damme or Seagal. Like, there's something else. Now, there's a lot of things involved, but here's the thing. Even with Christopher Van Varenberg going to the best acting coaches, getting even better training than Van Damme, he just doesn't have what Van Damme has that Van Damme naturally has. He doesn't have that quality, that charismatic thing where it's like, even in a low budget movie where Van Damme's not the star,
Hey,
like
I agree.
you almost can't take your
agree.
eyes off of him. You don't get that from someone like his son and
I
any
agree.
other guy, in my
I
opinion.
agree, but I don't think Van Damme has put any effort in teaching him how to be like that. It
That's the
doesn't show.
thing. That's the thing. There's certain things
I don't think
teacher
I don't think
that
he
are
has
more
time. I don't think he's ever
important
had
to be a
time,
movie
even
star.
now, dude. I don't think he's ever had time, and even now, I don't think he's ever.
Here's the
at
thing,
time
like
of taking the time.
I agree with you on not raising him as much as he wanted and spending as much time and getting all these dogs and adopting them, because here's the thing, man. Anybody involved in what Van Damme does, they do have to be selfish to a degree, because again, that kind of schedule where you're doing talk shows, you're traveling, you're making movies, you do have to neglect your family, unfortunately, and that's just a fact. So you can't have both things.
Yeah.
Obviously, he was at the top of the world with his career, and you have to take advantage of that while it's there. It's a fine balance, but I see why all these guys have to neglect their families to some degree. You just have to, because there's only so much time. But the thing is, like you mentioned, the thing that makes Van Damme, like, you could give all the best martial arts training in the world, the best acting in the world, the best this, the best that. There's that thing that you kind of just have to have to be this big, like, movie star. It's that indefinable thing you either have or you don't to some degree, and it's almost magnetic, where like people are drawn
Yeah,
to
but we
you
will
know.
never know that if he didn't push the kid to his limit. If he didn't even try to push the kid out there. I mean, he didn't even, in my opinion, he didn't even really try to push the kid out there a little bit. And I can just kick him, man. He sucks.
Van Damme
Straight
doesn't
up.
have, like,
He's
the
got
best
flexibility.
exercises
He's
or
got flexibility, but that's where it ends, man. There's no real power behind those kicks. Like, I can tell that Kris has never even been in a light contact sparring match. I mean, I can tell by his movement that he's, and the same thing with his daughter. I think Van Damme did focus a lot on stretching them out, getting them the basics, because they do understand the basics of the kicks and all that. But you know, he didn't bother getting them real instruction to get them where they're at. And look, if they weren't making movies, I wouldn't even be criticizing this. But they're in his movies. He should have done a better job with them, in my opinion. Like, straight up, really though. Like, I think that in that sense, I think Van Damme. And look, the character of Johnny Cage is based off of Van Damme. What are some of his characteristics? He's highly narcissistic, like Van Damme is. Let's be honest about it. The man is always worried with himself first. Me first, me first, me first, in almost everything. There's a reason why he had 5 wives. And you talk about, yeah, his schedule does that. But let's be honest, dude. Look at all the partying he did, all the cocaine use, all the pictures that came out when he got arrested. There's that image of him getting arrested in Access Hollywood where it was set up, of course, to get him arrested. I don't know if you know that. The cops and the photographers, they were in on it to get those images and arrest him and get it on tape. But there's also that side of him. You don't think he could have been with his family all those times? And I'm not trying to be like talking negative about him, but I'm just pointing out the facts. I'm his fan too. But I'm not like, sometimes like people be saying that you or me, that we're JCVD writers or whatever, like we're on his NUTS. I honestly don't believe that about myself, because even though I love Van Damme, I will also point out the negative things, like he doesn't have a kickboxing record and his kids could have been better at martial arts, etc., you know. I don't judge him, of course, for all that partying and all the things he did. I've been there myself in the party scene and all that, right? But my point is, Bruce Lee didn't do that. He was there for his kids, and he was training them, and he was teaching them. He was there for his wife, and he actually moved from China back to the States to not lose them. Van Damme lost not one family, many. But what I'm getting at is, if he wasn't so much into himself, if he was more about the next generation, teaching, etc., passing on what he's got, but he's all about me staying at the top, at least up until this point,
That's
you know.
an interesting conversation for sure, man.
Yeah, man. I've analyzed it, because like I've always wondered that. Like, ever since Kris started coming out in his movies, I always wondered, why doesn't he do this stuff better? From the beginning, it was already a question of mine. And then when I really, really thought about it, and then there's that thing about the Power Ranger. Remember the whole Power Ranger guy that
Sure.
Van Damme was less than enthused when he went to the premiere and all that? Why? There it shows. Why wasn't he embracing that guy? It wasn't going to take anything away from him. I know he's stepping into his turf, but what if they had made a movie together? What if they had gotten along? You know, beat as it may, no one was going to be him. But I think Van Damme does kind of worry a little bit that someone one day will outdo him.
It's hard to say, because he's also been on interviews early in his career where people were asking you know, of all these other guys and the competition and Arnold Schwarzenegger, Stallone, and Seagal's out there and other guys.
Yeah, but I'm not talking about those guys. I mean, even though they're competition, they're different. I'm talking about someone coming out that does what he does, but better.
Yeah, well,
he doesn't want that.
Real quick, the point I was making of that, he said, like, no, there's room for all of us. Like, you know, we just got to focus on, like, ourself and our movie. And it's not like if this other guy doesn't do this movie, if this other guy doesn't do good, like, it's not going to affect me. I just got to focus on what I'm doing. So,
yeah,
you know, I mean, the thing is, it's an interesting topic in general. As far as being the family man, yeah, Bruce Lee, it would have been better to be his son probably than Van Damme's son, at least early on. Now, what I do like about Van Damme, he does seem to probably, like you mentioned, realize that he did neglect the kids early on due to various reasons, but now he does seem really close, at least, you know, with his kids. And that's probably also
with
why
he's
gets to spend more time with them by working together, essentially, you know, just trying to spend more time in some way. So my opinion, I think he's helped them as much as he could. At the end of the day, they need to impress a producer. They can't just latch on and be a co-star in one of his movies. That's up to them.
And yeah, listen though, let me stop you there again, right? Let me stop you there again. Hold on, time out. Let me stop you there again, because you talk over him. But listen, why didn't he try and get him into like movies that come out in the movie theater and not
because he can't.
Look, no offense.
Now he can't even get into movie theaters himself now.
Yeah, that's man, but thing, come on, man. I mean, come on. Let's be realistic.
Like, he's got connections that get him in straight to video movies.
Exactly.
He can't even get movie theater movies now.
Exactly. But instead, he always put him below himself. What movie has Van Damme made where Kris is the leading guy? Tell me. One. What movie has Van Damme made where his daughter is the leading girl? None. I mean that just proves it, man. Like it just proves that he's busier with himself. Of course, Van Damme will sell because he's Van Damme. But if he had put more focus on his kids, I think they would have been big stars. They're both good looking. They're both athletic. They have his genes as their mom's genes. Their mom was a bodybuilder. They have really good genetics, and they're talented. And they're not like dumb kids. I've seen their videos. They're sort of smart, you know. So they could have easily been really big, in my opinion. Look at what's his name? The guy from the Kung Fu series. The guy that
David Carradine?
Yeah, he was making a project with his daughter. I don't know if you know this, where it was like a one long movie. It was about martial arts, I think. It never got finished because he passed away. But he was making a movie with his daughter where you actually see her grow up in real time. It was going to be a project that would take, I think, 2 decades to finish, or 15 years or something. But even David Carradine was busy trying to get his kid to be like this big movie star in a big time movie. So you cannot tell me Van Damme did his best with them.
Here's the thing. I think he did what he could do. They have to make it themselves, you know. They can't be given anything. But
how can a little kid make it himself? How can a little kid make it himself?
No, not a little kid. They're adults. They're in their 30s.
I'm not talking about now. I'm talking about them growing up into becoming a movie star.
Yeah, see, I don't think, like, if you're a child actor,
he should have got them early.
I think Van Damme knows how disgusting the film industry is. I wouldn't want my kid to be a child actor. If they want to get into acting later, fine. I can't. I wouldn't want him to be a child actor. But the interesting thing,
dude. But we have a lot of info on that now. Back in the days, it was not like it was common knowledge, you know.
But he would know that, though, being involved in that world. He would know that firsthand. But real quick, though, I think he is trying to make them bigger stars, because if you go to his website real quick, Rodin Entertainment, he's got movies with them as the main star, like I think some Western movie. All right, so you've heard from AJ, you've heard from myself. Now let's see who's right. Let's hear from Sheldon Lettich. Even with like Van Damme's own kids, now they're obviously in stuff, usually like a lot of his own movies, but them to just kind of break out on their own, it's like, even with the name, right. And connections, it's not that easy.
Well, the daughter, Bianca, to be blunt, she really has no acting talent. She's very pretty, but
just, she's got the look. Modeling might be more suited. Suited for her. Yeah.
Christopher is actually not a bad actor.
Okay.
But he just did not want to go through the steps that one has to go through to become a working actor. Jean-Claude's agent actually took him on as a client, was sending him out on auditions. And he'd get to these auditions and he'd see there's like 10 other guys waiting here. to try out for this role. And then I got to learn the lines. I got to, I got to audition. I don't know if I've got it or not. They'll call me, I have to wait for a phone call. He didn't like that whole process. Okay. But that's what it takes.
Sure.
That's what it takes to make it as an actor. And he just saw his dad getting handed roles. But at first, his dad was not getting handed roles.
He was like an extra in Breakin'. Like he wasn't doing anything,
No, he was out there. He was out there hustling. He was out. Yeah. He was hustling, but he also had the looks. He had the charisma. He had the martial arts moves. He had a lot going for him.
Shit, boy, you bad motherfucker with that foreign shit. Boy, put it right there.
So that's how he made it. But Christopher, he actually is a pretty good actor. He's actually got a good look for some of these roles. He could have gotten some of these roles that he went out for had he tried, but he just didn't want to be competing with a bunch of unknown people who were trying to get the same job he was trying to get. So anyways, it didn't work out.
You know what else it probably is? He's probably just not as hungry.
No,
like, think about it. He kind of grew up with his father being an international star, multi-millionaire. I'm sure he's had in some ways, financially at least, a pretty comfortable life.
He's got a comfortable life. He's got he lives in his dad's got this big house out in Simi Valley. There's a whole.
I love Simi Valley. My brother lives out there.
Yeah, there's a whole separate wing of the house that's got like its own bedroom and bathroom, and so he and his brother Nick have that whole wing to themselves. So basically, he doesn't have to worry about car payments or rent.
Sure.
Or buying groceries, none of that. All right. So his life is just a bit too easy. He's not hungry.
Yeah.
And you got to have that hunger to go out there and make it in this business.
Like Stallone, obviously Van Damme, but like Stallone with his story before Rocky and having written something. Here's all this money. It's like, I'm actually pretty comfortable being completely broke. So I need to be in this movie. I'd rather be in this movie and continue to be broke than just sell it and be, have a little bit of it. Right. That kind of hunger, man. And not only that, but you get that kind of performance out of it. Cause it kind of like, it kind of parallels their own life.
You can see the hunger in his eyes and his face.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
But you can't buy what I'm going to give you. I mean, I've got pain and I've got experience.
So I got pain, I got experience too.
So yeah, that's my daughters. Nobody. The youngest one had a little bit of interest in it for a while, but she realized it's just too hard. It's just there's no guarantee that you're going to make a living from this thing. So she went and got her MBA, and now she's making plenty of money.
I think basically the statistic is like 90 or even possibly 95% of actors make less than $5,000 a year. And then obviously the 5% make everything. But other people, like they're working waitressing jobs, bartending, doing Uber driving. They get a little role, maybe they make $1,200, $2,000, whatever. But the vast majority will make less than $5,000 a year, which is insane.
Mm-hmm.
It's a wrong bet, like Lionheart would say.
Right. Yeah.
Wrong bet.
Yeah. So there's no guarantees at all.
Hey, real quick, Sheldon, do you mind if I share in a video about what you said about Van Damme's kids? Because there's a video topic I've been meaning to do forever, and I had this discussion with a friend of mine, and we're talking about like why Van Damme's kids aren't as popular. And for me, I'm just saying, well, they just don't have what Van Damme had. And he's saying, no, Van Damme doesn't want them to be, because Van Damme's ego is too big and he doesn't want his kid or anyone else to be bigger. And we have a big debate with them, but can I use some of the stuff we talked
actually
about?
And if anything, when we're talking about Van Damme's ego, his ego wants his kids to do well. Okay.
So it's the opposite of
he wants us to be like a family legacy.
Oh, really?
like Martin Sheen and Charlie Sheen, and there's other examples too. But basically, this is for him. This is the family business.
Sure.
Okay, making movies, starring in movies. This is the family business, and he wants his kids to go into the family business. Okay, it's like if it was a grocery store. All right, so I want my kids to work the counters and handle the customers, and one of these days they'll own my grocery store. All right, that's the way he looks at it. So he's actually been trying. He wants his kids to do well. In fact, it'll satisfy his ego if his kids do well in his business. But there's no guarantee, even if you're the son and daughter of Van Damme, there's no guarantee that you're going to make it. There's no guarantee that people are going to just assume that you're going to have the same kind of looks and charisma and talent as your dad. And people have tried. I've been impressed with Christopher's acting. I think his acting's pretty good, but he's no movie star. He just doesn't have that charisma that is that. And I was even talking about doing a movie, directing a movie that he was going to be in. I'd be happy to do a movie with him. But is he ever going to be another Van Damme? In name only, okay? But what Jean-Claude has got is very, very rare and very special.
Yeah.
You don't see it every day. That's why those 5,000 other actors are out there scrambling for work. Because
Sure. Just as a joke, by the way, Sheldon, you almost kind of sound like Menachem Golan when he was saying the way he described Christopher, the way he described Van Damme. No, he's not a star. Like Michael Dudikoff and Chuck Norris would have Van Damme. So you almost like the modern day Menachem. No, he's not a star.
But when I met Van Damme, right away I was saying, this guy's
like you knew it. You knew it.
I pretty much
more than the karate guy. And Menachem was like sitting on a gold mine, didn't even realize it. But you're like, no, this dude is he's gonna be huge.
And then I introduced him to Sam Raimi, and Sam thought the same thing. Like, like this guy's really got it. And Sam ended up doing a couple of movies with him. With Christopher, I love Christopher. I've known him since he was a baby, but I just don't see it.
Just to clarify, though, you don't mind if I use stuff from this discussion about Van Damme's kids in a video, right?
No, you can. I think by now,
thanks.
By now, I think Christopher is probably, and Jean-Claude have probably realized that he's not movie star material, and Bianca, certainly she has her looks, but looks aren't everything. She's just not. She's just never really gotten into any of the roles that she's played. She's just kind of saying the lines, but not really believing what she's saying. And that's the difference between a real actor and somebody who's just going through the motions. And with Bianca, she just kind of goes through the motions. With Christopher, he's into it. He could be an actor. Is he going to be a movie star? Well, I personally don't think so. But see, Menachem's opinion of Jean-Claude was much less than that. Okay. Yeah.
It's kind of comical. But, and so do you know, though, if Van Damme's daughter, like, did she take acting classes and do all that at least? And, like, try to become,
I don't believe she
a
ever
competent actor?
No,
or?
I don't think she ever did.
Oh,
Christopher did. Christopher took some acting, one-on-one acting classes with an acting coach. Okay, and it did help him. He's actually he's not bad, but I think he's pretty much stopped pursuing. He hasn't really been pursuing the leads because Jean-Claude's agent was giving him leads, sending him to auditions.
Sure.
You need to put some effort into those auditions. You go on an audition with a producer. If you're only halfway there, you're not going to get the job. Just because your dad is Van Damme, you're not going to get the job. There's got to be more to it than that.
Yeah.
Had he pursued it, maybe he could have been doing something in the business. I'm not sure.
That's the really weird thing about acting compared to most other things. If you think about it, like you could get a guy like Steven Skull who's never taken acting classes, as far as I know, gets the lead in a movie and then is just so natural on screen. Whereas you could get another guy taking all the acting classes in the world and he's just so stiff and awkward and just like not believable. So
But even
it's
if
so
he's not,
weird.
even if that actor is really good. And look, when I do auditions, one thing I tell actors away from the audition, I tell them, look, this is not a contest to see who will give me the best performance. Okay, you're auditioning for a part. If you've got the right look, the right voice, the right kind of personality, then you'll get cast.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a contest. There, because I'll have 20 actors come in for a role, and I don't pick the ones that give me the best performance. I pick the ones that look right for the role, that look like the character is supposed to look for me. So you can be the best actor in the world. You can be the top of the class in acting school. Doesn't mean you're going to get any roles. And I've met plenty of fantastic actors out there over the years. They don't make it in the business, not because they're not good at what they do, because there's those other mysterious qualities that they don't possess. Either that, or there's a particular role they're trying out for, but they don't suit. They're not right for that role. Okay, there's a lot of pretty girls out there. Pretty doesn't mean you're going to get cast. Pretty just means that the producers are going to be hitting on you. Or every so often there's a Sharon Stone that's really beautiful and has some acting chops also. There are probably better examples than Sharon Stone.
She's pretty good. She's pretty good.
She's pretty good. Like Scarlett Johansson. There's a pretty girl. She's a really great actress also.
Yeah.
So she's got a lot of qualities. And you're making a movie like Black Widow. Does this girl look like she fits the role of Black Widow? Scarlett Johansson does. There's probably a lot of other actresses out there that are just as good as her, but you're not going to believe them as Black Widow. Okay, yeah. So there's a lot of different factors that come into play.
Having the right look, yeah, obviously, because it's such a visual medium, you got to look the part. So having that, I would think having the right look, and just if you can take direction, right? Because you don't have to be the best actor, but if the director kind of can direct you, and you have that mind where you can take the direction and kind of, do what he or she needs you to do, and you got the right look, that probably just goes a long way, I would imagine.
With Steven Seagal, I bet he had some acting lessons. Because I'm forgetting the guy's name now. The guy who was the head of CAA was taking some martial arts lessons from Steven Seagal. And so this is like the guy who's the head of the most powerful agency in town. And he decides, this guy's got some real charisma. I think this guy could be a movie star. I'm going to get him set up to be in a movie. I bet that he did take some private lessons with an acting coach.
Interesting. Yeah. Michael Ovitz is who I think you're talking about.
Michael Ovitz, right.
Yeah. What do you think about that rumor that apparently Michael Ovitz made a bet with somebody and he said, I could make anybody a star? And they're like, well, what about this guy, Steven Seagal? And
I doubt it.
That's just like a rumor, right? Because there's no way you could make someone a star. The fact of the matter is people watch his movies. They liked his movies. They made a lot of money. They keep making more, and they make a lot of money. Like, you could give somebody a chance, like Mark Dacascos, for example, who I thought could have been a huge star, but there were various reasons with promoting Only the Strong and then making a really bad movie like Double Dragon that kind of derailed him, and
that derailed him.
Superstardom goes.
Well, you see, Seagal had Mike Ovitz picking the movies for him. Okay, so Mike Ovitz would not have put Seagal in Double Dragon. All right.
Can you imagine him in Double Dragon? That wouldn't quite work. But
like above the law, was just the right movie for Steven Seagal to be in, and Under Siege was just the right movie for him to be in. And Seagal did have, he had a lot of charisma, and he really could do the fight moves also.
Yeah.
So he had that combination.
Rare combination, but that's why Steven still made it, not some silly bet.
No, I doubt that completely. Mike Ovitz would not have made a stupid bet like that and then try to follow through on it.
Yeah, very cool.
Basically, he met this guy, Steven Seagal, and took classes from him and was thinking, you know what, this guy's got a lot of charisma. I bet this guy could be a movie star if he was in the right movie.
And he just sticks out. Like, he's got that look, like you're talking about having the right look, and he's like 6'5", and you know, like his voice, he's very like calm, and there's that like mysteriousness about him that, you know. But and his backstory, not quite like Frank Dukes', but pretty impressive, you know. Oh, by the way, I recently watched Kris Van Varenberg. He did like an Instagram live video, and he talked about how he wants to, it sounds like, pursue directing, wants to be known among the greats as far as like a film director. So I don't know if he's even pursuing acting or even cares, but it looks like he's going in that direction now. So we'll see what happens, and we'll wish him luck.